Hello friends, welcome back to our channel. Today I'm going to deep dive into very interesting and hot topic, gluten-free diets. Now, if you are somebody, who are trying to lose weight quickly and easily, you might have heard of gluten-free diet. For example, gluten-free flour, biscuit, cookies, chocolates and many more things, which is there in Amazon and Flipkart. And this also has become a popular trend due to the media influence and also the endorsement of the celebrities. Many people believe that if you can remove atta, roti, pasta, bread, cereal, cookies, and all this stuff from our diet, we are going to have a great gut because these food are all filled with gluten. The question is the gluten is actually the root of all evil? Let's find it out together. Now, before we start, let's discuss what is gluten, right? That is the most important thing. Now, gluten is basically protein which is naturally found in some of the grains, including wheat, barley, and rye. This is also present in many other food, for example, pasta, cereal, and beer. As the name says, glue-like substance in the gluten that works like a binder, holding the food together and adding a stretch quality. Now, is there some benefits of having gluten? Right? Yes, there are lots of health benefits of gluten. India, in our country especially, has a long history of consuming wheat for so many generations as a staple food. Okay, for centuries, foods with the gluten have been providing people with the protein, fiber, and many of the nutrients. Of late, there has been some negative news in the social media about wheat, about gluten, and this has created doubts in some of the people's mind about the place of gluten in our diet. But the fact is, there is very little published research to support these claims. In fact, the published research suggests the opposite. As per the research, whole grain consumption can lead to improved health outcomes. For example, people who take highest intake of whole grains, including wheat, of 2 to 3 servings per day, compared to people who are eating only lesser than 2 servings per day, are are found to have significantly lower rate of heart disease, stroke, development type 2 diabetes, and any kind of death from any kind of disease, right? This is the one thing. Second benefit is that gluten also works like a prebiotic. It feeds the good bacteria in our bodies. These bacteria are normally found in a healthy human gut. So by not taking the foods which are loaded with the gluten can lead to a lot of gastro problems, including the IBS, colorectal cancer, and many other things. Right? Now the question is, if the gluten is so good, can we take in all cases? Not exactly. I'll talk to you about 4 cases where the gluten can be a problem. I'll discuss with all these 4 cases right now. So, number one case, which is the most serious case, is the celiac disease. Now, people with the celiac disease have an autoimmune response to gluten. This means their bodies try to fight against gluten as if it is a virus. This reaction causes inflammation and damage to the digestive tracts. And celiac disease is the result of an abnormal gene. People who have celiac disease, they also have very high level of certain antibodies in their blood, which are the substance that fight against gluten. The side effects can be like fatigue, bloating, constipation, diarrhea, and it can also be very serious. For example, unintentional weight loss, malnutrition, intestine damage, and many other things. But the good part is less than 1% people have this problem. Not everybody, right? Second case of problem where the gluten can be an issue if you take it is the non-celiac gluten sensitivity. We call it as gluten intolerance. The short form is NCGS. This is an intolerance to the gluten with the similar symptoms like celiac disease, but without the accompanying antibodies and the intestine damage. And only 6% of the population in US have this problem of gluten intolerance. Third type is of wheat allergy. Now, these are the people who have an allergy towards wheat, right? That means if you have an allergy to one or more of the proteins which is there in the wheat, like albumin, gluten, gliadin, globulin, which is there in the wheat, the symptoms can be mild to severe. Can include like swelling, itching of the mouth, throat, itchy eyes, shortness of the breath, nausea, diarrhea, cramps, and many other things, right? And people, even if you are testing negative for this condition, if you don't have these symptoms, can still have the gluten sensitivity, okay? And fourth type is something which has to do with the skin, okay? This is something, another type of thing which you need to know, that is dermatitis herpetiformis, which short form is DH. Okay, this is a skin rash which can happen also because of eating gluten. Okay, this is an autoimmune response again, like the way celiac disease is, and autoimmune response which exhibits itself as a persistent and red, itchy skin rash that can also produce the blisters and bumps. Right? Although people with celiac disease may have the DH, sometimes may not be true because people having DS may not have the celiac disease. So the symptoms are not vice versa. Now let's talk about what is a gluten-free diet, which has been so crazy nowadays, right? So gluten-free diet essentially is a diet that removes all the foods containing gluten. Okay. Of late, the gluten-free diet has become a trend. It's a fad diet now. Okay. It has become more popular in the general population, even if people are not diagnosed with the celiac disease. They are still having, gluten-free diet. So people when they don't have celiac disease, but they follow a strict diet where they cut down all the foods that contain the protein gluten, you know, this can they do it because they feel that this can lead to weight loss. It can boost the energy level, even if it is not true. But there are a lot of assumptions people have that if I take gluten-free diet, I can actually have a better health and I have a healthier lifestyle. But this is not true at all. All right. So it is important for you to understand that do not rely on the processed gluten-free food because this can be high in calories, sugar, saturated fat, and sodium and low in nutrition and fiber, right? Because many of the gluten-free food like cookies, chips, and many other snack food are not good for your health because they are more processed, have a lot of bad calories. Gluten-free diet can also may lack some of the essential vitamins and minerals like vitamin D, B, A, E, K, iron, calcium, copper, zinc, many other things. Because this gluten-free processed food often being made with a processed starch, refined flour, and this can be very low in fiber. This is not good for our health, right? So people who adopt a gluten-free diet, but still they eat this processed food and find that they still have the problem, which is weight gain, blood sugar elevation, and other health problems. So this is not because of the gluten in the food which is causing the health issue. It is because of the sodium, because of the sugar, because of the salt, and other additives, right? Which in the processed food, which is causing this problem, right? So we need to make sure how we can avoid all these problems, and that is what should be the way of thinking forward. The gluten-free industry right now is growing steadily year after year because there has been so much of craze to go for food which are not having gluten. An interesting study shows that people who do not have the celiac disease are the biggest purchaser of the gluten-free products. Can you believe this? And this is what is happening, which is not right because this has become a fad diet. Okay. So what next? Should you have gluten-free diet or should you have food with gluten? What is the solution next? You need to talk to a physician. Okay. If you feel that you have gluten sensitivity, if not celiac disease, if you have gluten sensitivity, you should or gluten tolerance, intolerance, you should be talking to a doctor and see whether this is affecting your health, right? And your doctor can suggest blood test to detect any kind of wheat allergy or celiac disease or gluten intolerance, right? So before cutting the gluten out of your diet, talk to the doctor and work with a dietitian to build a diet plan which can be right for you. Do not self diagnose. and miss out on the goodness of whole grains, right? If you like this video, I'm sure it has some information for you to take a decision about your health. And if you like it, just subscribe to this channel and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks a lot for watching.